Tonight, President Akufo Addo and former President John Mahama clash over their respective track records in tackling corruption.
Most appallingly, the president has become the clearinghouse for clearing his appointees accused of corruption.
I'm sure we are all aware of the statement by the former president stigmatizing me as the clearing agent, because for him, mere allegation without more is enough to merit condemnation of an accused public official.
Details as President Akufo Addo makes bold claims about the success of the corruption war under his watch.
I will not set aside due process and the rules of natural justice on the altar of the fight against corruption, no matter how much opprobrium this position incurs for me.
Tonight, we're asking, what do the facts say? Well, President Akufo Addo has just over 6 months to exit power, and he's determined to fight off any claims that may damage his legacy as it relates to the fight against corruption. Tonight, the president has clashed with NDC flag bearer and former President John Mahama over his record in tackling corruption. In a vehement defense, the president touted the success of his corruption fight. The NDC flag bearer just yesterday launched a scathing attack on the president's record. Listen.
In the fight against corruption, the NDC has a better record in terms of regime accountability. The NPP has proven in government that it is always reluctant to pursue their own, despite the swelling stench of corruption around their administration. All Ghanaians have received so far is lip service in the fight against corruption. As I said in Ho last year, and I quote, "It does not take bravery to prosecute one's political opponent. The true test in the fight against corruption is holding your own people accountable when they go wrong." And so far, the president has failed this test. Most appallingly, the president has become the clearinghouse for clearing his appointees accused of corruption. He has on several occasions cleared his ministers and appointees when allegations of corruption have been made against them. Indeed, it was a very low day for Ghana when the president peddled a falsehood on a panel at the recent African Investment Forum that all allegations of corruption made against people in his administration have been investigated and cleared by independent investigative bodies. That was an obvious untruth. Even more worrying is the historic heights this administration has taken nepotism to. All comments referring to the large number of families and cronies serving in this administration are falling on deaf ears. At the same time, insensitivity keeps manifesting in the high taxes, high port charges, high fuel prices, high transport fares, high commodity and food prices, high rent, high CD to dollar exchange rate, high national debt, and high levels of insecurity.
But President Akufo Addo won't take any of it. He described as unfortunate claims. He is only interested in clearing his appointees accused of corruption.
I'm sure we are all aware of the statement by the former president and perennial NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, stigmatizing me as the clearing agent, because for him, mere allegation without more is enough to merit condemnation of an accused public official, especially one of my administration. For my part, and let me state it again for the record, I will not set aside due process and the rules of natural justice on the altar of the fight against corruption, no matter how much opprobrium this position incurs for me.
Well, addressing a gathering to formally open the Law House, the president says various laws passed and the strengthening of anti-corruption institutions have helped in minimizing the impact of the canker on the society.
Despite the ugly noises, the fight against corruption has been the cornerstone of my administration. With a clear understanding that corruption thrives in an atmosphere conducive to its concealment, and that access to information is a vital tool in the fight against corruption. My government in its first term ensured the passage of the Right to Information Act in order to give true meaning and effect to Article 21, Clauses 1F of the Constitution. The Act, which successive governments have failed to pass, sees to the implementation of the constitutional right to information held by a public institution to foster a culture of transparency and accountability in public affairs, subject to exemptions, necessary and consistent with the protection of the public interest in a democratic society. The Act is now being fully implemented, with the governing board chaired by an experienced and respected retired High Court judge. The Ministry of Information has trained information officers in various ministries, departments, and agencies of government to support the full application of the law.
Well, let's do more on this. We're joined on the phone lines now by Felix Kojo, who was an aide to former President John Mahama. Felix, I'm grateful for joining. First off, this is what the president says, that his track record is better than your boss. What's your response?
What a still joke. You see, those of you in the media too, I need to put you on the carpet and criticize you. Sometimes, when there is truth, you don't need to waste time asking us politicians. You know that what the president is saying is not only false, but it does not make sense. How can any rational human being who has lived in this country under President Akufo Addo for the last 8 years ever see that he has any record on anti-corruption to even speak of? And you in the media know it. So why do you like to waste time on these matters?
Well, Felix,
and generate needless controversy when you know what the
says. Felix,
he says
that.
That was a mild criticism of you, but let me go on to the substance of the matter.
No, but I wanted to come in. He says that, well, I have allowed the laws to work. And our laws say one is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So what's wrong if a president... What is that?
You are in the media. You know what he's saying is not only false, and that it does not make sense as well.
That he hasn't allowed the laws to work?
How has he allowed any law to work? Please, what law did he allow to work when over 400 excavators got missing in this country? Which law worked? I beg you, which law worked when it was certified that elements in his government engaged in visa fraud in the Australia visa scandal? Which law worked on that occasion? Which law has worked since it came to light that Cecilia Dapa stashed $1 million or more in her house? Which law has worked since the SML deal came to light? Which law has worked in any of the multiple instances of corruption for which evidence has been adduced under President Akufo Addo?
Well, Felix,
please,
he has referred all of them.
Dumelobo unconstitutionally.
He has referred all of them. He has referred all of them to the appropriate authorities for investigation. Cecilia Dapa was handled by the OSP, then given to the EOCO to continue. All of those issues you've mentioned, he says, I'm allowing the right authorities to investigate to come clear on whether or not these people are complicit. Is that not the right thing to do?
No law has worked in this country since the Australia visa scandal broke out. Tell me, which law has worked? Is it not a matter of fact? Did you in the media not disclose to us that elements in the Akufo Addo administration have actually taken people who are not journalists, acquired visas for them, and made them pose as journalists, causing us tremendous embarrassment? You know that no law works. So why are you merely repeating what the president is saying when you know it is not true? That is the difficulty I have with the position that some of you take in the media. You see, not only does President Akufo Addo lead the most corrupt government in this country's history, he is also exceptionally arrogant in the way that he defends the corruption and his non-action. It does appear to us that for as long as any wrongdoing occurs and it is done by an NPP person, you can take it for granted that nothing will happen to him. And that is precisely what he has done. No Ghanaian leader has had the sort of arrogant posturing that President Akufo Addo has had in the matter of anti-corruption. or the lack of it. And I think that it is important that when matters are clear, we don't waste time haggling over it. This president has done nothing and will do nothing about corruption insofar as it involves an entity person. In fact, even when members of his party have been involved in the killing of people during elections, he does nothing. So why would anybody be surprised if he doesn't act over corruption?
Well, what you just said there were just basically allegations that people died. You are saying that members of his party, you can't prove that. But again, if you are talking about the things he's done, we all know about the Right to Information Act, which was in Parliament for decades. We know that now, since he came, they've established the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Again, spending to anti-corruption agencies have improved. And is enough for him to say, well, or for all of us to say, he's done some. Maybe there are things that he should improve. But you can't say he's done nothing at all. Not so?
You know, what use is there in passing a law that does no work? If you set up an Office of Special Prosecutor who prosecutes nobody, and in fact the president himself creates impediments so that the Office of the Special Prosecutor cannot work, of what use is it? The funding that you say he has increased for anti-corruption bodies, how has it helped us? When Ghana was assessed in the anti-corruption fight by Transparency International, how far did we go? Are we not performing much worse than we did before this president took over? So how have we benefited from the so-called increased spending that the president is talking about? And you and I know that this president has done nothing about corruption and will do nothing about it. But thankfully, his tenure has just about 6 months left. He and his party will be booted out in general election. And he will not be in a position anymore to manipulate law enforcement and judicial processes to protect his appointees. And President Mahama has made it clear that anybody who has taken a dime belonging to the state will be held accountable when he becomes president. So unfortunately, we have no option as a country than to wait for this MPP party that is in government to be booted out, for some real accountability to be exacted from those who have committed those crimes against the people of this country.
Okay, hold the line for me. Let me bring in Palgrave Boachedankwa. He speaks for the government on governance and security. Palgrave, grateful for joining us. Now,
thank you very much for the opportunity.
The point is, the president has always come out to clear his appointees before the right agencies who are clothed with authority to investigate come out to do so. Why wouldn't the president wait and allow the authorities to do so before he comes out always to say, well, my appointee has been investigated and they've been cleared?
A very good evening to you and a very good evening to Felix and to your listeners. And to state that he's taking President Akufo Addo, the only president in this Fourth Republic to be able to handle corruption head-on than any other person. President Akufo Addo, in 2017, when he had an opportunity to lead this country, established the Office of the Special Prosecutor and ensured that the mandate that is given to that office to prosecute, to investigate corruption and corruption-related activities continue to go on. I mean, it's right to state very clearly that the launch of this and the opening of this law house comes to another hallmark in our rule of law and our journey towards democracy. I mean, I'm surprised to hear that Felix throws these bombs around as though President Akufo Addo has done nothing at all. The Ghanaian people remember him for the good things that he has done in ensuring that the rule of law works, and it goes to the very details of that. The president spoke about the RTI, which has made information accessible to anybody and everybody who wants to know what is going on in government. It's this president that has opened this level of open democracy that we have never seen in this Fourth Republic. We Ghanaians will continually commend him for his work, for his leadership, for the transparency, for the accountability, and that's, of course, I mean, every other issue that has come as it relates to corruption and alleged corruption, the president has referred those matters to the state agencies, and the state agencies that have not found any evidence whatsoever at all have come to bear to prove that. And so for me, I don't want us to reduce the conversation
the bone of contention
to
here,
politics, but this is to state very clearly. The president is very clear in his mind that he will go into the annals of history in this country, that he's been the president that has set up this Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Well, Palgrave, the bone of contention here is that the president has always has been in a hurry to say my appointee is not is not liable for the corruption being leveled against him. But the question that the former president is asking is, who amongst his appointees now is being prosecuted for a corruption-related offense? Do we take it that, well, all of the people whom against whom we had corruption allegations are clean, and none of them is liable for those allegations?
My brother, we live in a rule of law. We live in a country that law abides us. If the persons have been alleged to be involved in corruption and corruption-related activities, and there is no evidence to substantiate those allegations, how do you prosecute someone like that? You can't prosecute someone that an allegation has come that you don't have evidence to substantiate those allegations. But in the SWAL government, there are people that were involved in corruption, Maslock scandal. Look at it. They are serving a jail term. NCA scandal. Look at it. They are serving a jail term. So really, people that have been involved in corruption and causing financial loss to the state, that there are evidences to show those people are behind the bars. If people have evidences, they should bring it out. Any single person that is named to be alleged to be involved in corruption and corruption-related activities that has not been brought to book with evidence, name the person, bring the evidences. And the government of President Akufo Addo, without a shadow of doubt, will show no one favoritism to ensure that every single person that is named, if there are evidences to prove that, they will go to his home and serve their jail term.
So even in the Cecilia Dapa case, yes, the law enforcement agencies are handling it, but you look at that case and say there's no evidence.
How do you look at a case of someone having money in his home, and then you juxtapose that because he has X amount of money in his home is due to corruption and corruption-related activities? Of what evidence do you have to that? I mean, in the law and in the right sense and the framework of the law, you must bring evidence to bear. The special prosecutor sent the case to FBI. FBI brought a report to state that they have not found anything whatsoever as it relates to the person being involved in other issues that they are purported that Madam
You saw a copy of that report?
And so if you
saw a copy of that report,
prosecute someone, you must bring evidence. The evidence must be clear. And the judge must be able to convict that individual. And then the person will serve a jail term.
Did you see evidence of that FBI report which says nothing was found on her?
I've been seen the report. It's open. It's public notice. You can request it through the RTI Commission. You will get it. I've seen it.
Okay. Let me bring in Mariada, who is the Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. Grateful to you for joining us. How would you rate the state of corruption, between the two administrations, really? Because you understand what it is.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to you and also to the other panelists. I have listened in keenly, and I am not surprised at the two for the positions they have taken. Indeed, it is frustrating, and if you do not take care, sometimes we tend to say that the fight against corruption for this government, I believe they've given us a raw deal for it. First of all, I say so because this government had a will of the people to prosecute an anti-corruption agenda, and for which, if I may refer to the corruption perception index, which Felix mentioned, you would realize that since the data became comparable in 2012, the highest we have gained so far has been 48, and that was in 2014. Again, the highest dip in the CPI was in 2016 when we dipped from 47 to 43. Since then, we have not made any significant gain. Since then, and also let me take it from 2017 when current government came into power. We have scored 40 in 2017, 41 in 2018, 41 in 2019. We made 2 points gain in 2019, and then that's 41. So 2020 we made 2 points, that's 43. And since then we have been on 43 for 4 continuous years. And if I may say again, this is a very worrying trend that we must all pay attention to. We should not in any way be tickling ourselves in the ribs and be smiling and laughing about it, because this has implications for the future. We should not be surprised as a people if we see a further dip in our scores, because the data shows that countries which have tended to stagnate for a long time have the high potential to drop. Again, you would realize that if you look at the data and evidence from other surveys, including the Afrobarometer, trust in government has dwindled from 70-something% to a current 35% or even less. And that is another worrying trend. To say that the people, either by their perceptions and also experiences, remember, it's not all the surveys that talk about perception. The Shraj and Statistical Service survey looked also at experiences of corruption. And you would realize that most of these surveys are seeing and speaking to the fact that trust in the fight against corruption has dwindled. And that is very worrying. So we should not be tickling ourselves and patting ourselves in the back too much that we have done that much. Giving resources to institutions is a good thing. But then if these institutions do not show any evidence of significant gains in the times past since 2017, then we cannot wholly be smiling and saying we have done a good job. But know the issues that have come up, and we know the corruption issues that have come up which have not been dealt with. How can we in any way say that for somebody to have money in their homes, stashed in various locations, picked up, has no issue to talk about? And yet the president, in his response to this lady's resignation, says he has the confidence in the lady and knows she would be cleared at the end of the day. So what do you expect of any institution that is working? What do we expect? We know the president has appointed, but we agree that people who have been appointed may not be safe. So we should allow the systems to work without any interference, without any proclamations and statements which could affect results thereof. We all know that these people doing these investigations have been appointed by somebody and are held accountable to that person. And we know some of the cases that have come up in the past which have occasioned the naming. I am not in any way justifying and saying that perhaps the NDC has done more. No, that is not the case. But we are talking about posturing. And the posturing, as we see it now, it's not the best because we see so much impunity. And a lot of studies are beginning to talk about state capture, are beginning to talk about impunity of power, and are beginning to spell that we are not doing well. And this is not conjecturing. These are surveys that speak also to the evidence that is being picked. So we shouldn't take it for granted.
You know, Ghana has culturally endemic corruption trait, and some say it reflects even our proverbs, like say one hand bats the other or baits the other. You will not go hungry if your brother is on top of a mango tree. So in tackling corruption, where do we need to start from?
In fighting corruption, we need a cultural reorientation, and the NACAP document spoke about it. But then, you know, these proverbs are not unique to Africa or Ghana.
Okay.
There have been, if you go to other dispensations, they've contextualized their issues and are able to manage these. And their systems and structures are set up in such a way that nobody can use some of these proverbs to get away with the wrongdoing. And so we should not overemphasize the role of culture and the role of a Ghanaian people wanting to give gifts as the symptom of our fight against corruption being lost. No. We are saying that as much as we would want to blame that, we believe that the fight against corruption would have to do, essentially, number one, with defining the concept very well, to contextualize it in our ways, to be able to deal with it. And we see that the OSP and Yoko have demonstrated without any shred of doubt that our definition against corruption should encapsulate some of the issues that are currently not done. And we believe that the political office holders are benefiting from it. So we are all looking on whilst this is happening.
Okay.
Again, apart from our laws, we need to see some commitment of leadership, showing that they are not interfering. But when we set up offices and yet we are pulling the strings from behind and making work difficult for these offices, then we are not doing our role as we should.
Okay.
We need to be able to commit. We need to be able to show that by doing and not just through rhetoric. If we continue to talk is cheap.
Okay.
Let us see the action.
Okay, Madam Addo, I'm grateful to you, but just in 30 seconds, if you can do this for me. The president has said a lot. He's made sure that the RTI is there. He set up OSP. What's your assessment of him as a person and his fight against corruption in 30 seconds?
He has done some. He has not done others. You see, we had so much expectation from the 2016 manifesto. Most of the things he says he would do, which ticks the box, they did. But then when it comes to following up on the issues of ensuring that we are getting the results for the fight against corruption, next to none has been done.
All right.
And it is so painful because we see, Felix mentioned some of them, including the JIDA, including the SADA issues that came up. We also now have issues apart from Cecilia Dapa to Brian Champon to the Smith issues.
I'm grateful.
And you begin to wonder what is happening to this country.
I'm grateful.
We need to see more.
Okay, I'm grateful. Thank you very much. Felix, let me bring you back again. You spoke about the OSP. That's an office that we all had hopes in. Question is, will the former president work with the OSP? How does he even rate the office of the OSP?
Well, the OSP has done nothing. And it's not surprising that it has done nothing. It was never set up with the intent to do anything. It was only a smoke screen that President Akufo Addo put in place to shield him against accountability so that he can only pass the buck. And since the OSP has been around, he has done everything in his power to frustrate their work. That is how come the former occupant of the OSP's office, who in any event described President Akufo Addo as a mother serpent of corruption, was forced to resign. The current OSP, we all know, is going through a lot of frustration. Impediments are being put in his way in the executive and in the judicial. And we all know that. But the point is that it is not about setting up institutions. Why you set up institutions and those institutions prove useless in the fight against corruption? What benefit do we derive as a country? So like I said, at this stage, if there is anybody listening to me or in this country who thinks that President Akufo Addo will do anything about corruption, that fellow is wasting his time.
So do I
the only way that President Akufo Addo and his corrupt government can be held to account is when they are voted out and the NDC takes over and we wage a sustained campaign against anti-corruption. President Mahama has made it clear, and he has a track record.
Will you collapse? Will you collapse the office of the OSP?
Whether you are in his government or in the previous government, he will hold you to account. That is the kind of leader we need.
Felix, will you take away the office of the OSP or you work with it?
Hello?
Will you work with the OSP or you collapse that office?
Well, it doesn't lie in my mouth to say. As long as it remains on our statute books as an institution that is supposed to fight against corruption, we will do what we can.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. That has been Top Story. My name is Samuel Kojo. It's brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies. Up next is Newsnight.
I send them, you get them. I get them, I send them.
I get them.
I pay them.
Telecel cash. I get them. I take them. Telecel cash.
You get them.
I send them. Telecel cash.
I send them, you get them.
Telecel cash.
I get them.
I buy them. I take them.
I pay them. I send them.
Telecel cash. Telecel Cash.
Experience the ultimate convenience of sending money on Telecel Cash. Sending money from Telecel Cash to Telecel Cash is free. You can also make payments to merchants on all networks. Enjoy best value and total security with Telecel Cash.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Are you looking for insurance you can trust? Look no further than Impact Life Insurance. With over 30 years of experience of giving Ghanaians reliable life insurance solutions, we've stood the test of time. Call us today on 059 6922 343. Impact Life Insurance is a merger between Phoenix Life Assurance Company Limited and Ghana Union Assurance Life Company Limited. Celebrating 30 years of trust and reliability. Impact Life Insurance. No worries.
Tonight, minority in Parliament demand immediate arrest of MPP parliamentary candidate for Amenfi East constituency, who has been justifying his call on miners to attack state security personnel.
But secondly, the state security apparatus must not let him off the hook. They must not let him off the hook because he's simply inciting the public against them. I mean, he has, by his conduct, endangered the lives of soldiers and police officers, which is why they must not let him off the hook.
We have the latest small-scale miners and civil society groups demand unqualified apology from the parliamentary candidate who made the comments in the presence of the chairman of the Western Regional Security Council.
So we don't understand why such a thing will be encouraged in this country. So we call him to retract what he said and apologize.
The gentleman misspoke, and the earlier he apologizes for it, the better it would be for all of us.
Also tonight, patients relying on critical medications fear the worst as Global Fund threatens to terminate support to Ghana unless 118 containers of critical malaria and tuberculosis medications shipped to the country are cleared from the port.
And these are medicines that the government of Ghana is not even procuring. They are being given to us for free, and yet we simply cannot take them from our ports. It is baffling.
We'll hear from the Global Fund Coordinating Mechanism Secretariat in Ghana.
I can assure you that if these commodities are not taken out of the port in time, and in time means now, the communication we may receive from the Global Fund will be just to confirm what you just asked.
On your election headquarters tonight, Vice President and MPP flag bearer Dr. Baumia promises chiefs across the country living allowances as he woos traditional leaders in the Ashanti region.
We are saying that we have to pay living allowances to the paramount chiefs, and not stop there, but to the divisional chiefs and the queen mothers.
But how will the MPP flag bearer fund this initiative?
And in Business Bank of Ghana advised to intensify strategies aimed to discouraging speculations as Cedi makes some gains in the past few days. We hear from currency analyst Courage Botti.
And in sports, we'll build up and bring you live commentary of the Black Stars game against Central African Republic in the World Cup qualifier.
You want to stay with us for more from the worlds of business and sports. I will also be sharing your thoughts with the rest of the world. 055 997. My name is Evans Mensah. He went viral over the weekend asking miners to attack state security personnel in the presence of the Western Regional Minister and Chairperson of the Regional Security Council. Tonight, civil society groups, Small-Scale Miners Association and in the last few minutes, the opposition members of Parliament have demanded the immediate arrest of Ernest Frimpong, the MPP parliamentary candidate for Amenfi East constituency. We'll hear from the minority shortly, but first listen to the speech by Mr. Frimpong.
Patrols help to reduce crime, but if they start destroying your equipment or try to evict you, and if they beat you, retaliate. Ernest Frimpong, the NPP parliamentary candidate for Amenfi East constituency in the Western region, was captured in a viral video advising miners at a forum to resist security personnel attempting to evict or harass them. Don't look at their uniform. You don't work for the security agencies. However, he asked them to cooperate with security personnel conducting regular patrols. You have the right to question anyone who comes to your site. If they say they are there for regular patrols, you can offer them some money out of goodwill. Also present at the forum was Regional Minister Kwabena Daku Mensah, who also heads the Regional Security Council. Ernest Frimpong made a bold promise to the attendees that he would personally intervene to protect their interests if they get into trouble with the security.
Nina more training up around the creative platform. Platform and medals, PMC, medals, the regional minister, and the neighbor to.
We are creating a regional platform, and I'll involve the regional minister. If anyone harasses you, post it on the platform, and we will intervene.
Well, subsequent to making these comments, he spoke to us and he justified those comments you just heard.
I am the one in the video, and so the clarity is that I did not engage illegal miners. I engaged miners in the Memphis East constituency. And from January to now, we have seen a number of military, police, let me say security attacks on the miners who are legally doing their work. And you call to find out where these people are coming from, and you realize that it is coming from no authority.
To address this is to attack uniformed men? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that if the people in uniform can go to the length of engaging civilians in a business form to torment miners who are legally working, then they should be exposed. We should fight illegal operators who are doing illegal work, where I deem it as corrupt act, and that should be fought.
Well, civil society organizations working in environment space now want him arrested immediately. Listen to the coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens, Awula Sewa.
Just unacceptable. We're not in the jungle. There's ecocide taking place. And if all the parliamentary candidate can do is to incite persons to attack the military, then I think his position is untenable. He should either resign or be sacked by the NP. And I hope the police, I hope the IGP has listened to the tape, and I hope an arrest will be made soon. There's no fight against illegal mining. Some underlings are arrested from time to time, but the kingpins are just thriving, counting their gold bars on television stations, and the country is being destroyed. But I hope that this prospective MP will be questioned, arrested, and if there's the basis for it, prosecuted. Because we cannot have in Parliament persons who are inciting attacks on our uniformed men.
Well, other groups are demanding an unqualified apology. I want you to listen to the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Kenneth Ashigbe, and president of the Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association, Michael Kojo Pepra.
If you go back and look at all the fights against Galamsey and you correlate it with elections, when we get close to elections, then you see politicians going and promising those involved in it, that they would allow them to do it. And now you see a candidate who then asks people that they should offer 300, 500, 1,000 cedis to police people who are doing their regular activities. Is that not bribery that he is preaching? That if the people are coming on patrols and they are actually are using state funds to come and do it, why should you be paying them 1,000 cedis for the works that they do? And then you are telling them also that if they come and asking you, then you go attacking them. I think this the gentleman misspoke, and the earlier he apologizes for it, the better it would be for all of us. We don't need this at this time when we're getting close to an election. We need to empower the security forces to do the right thing. If you are doing a wrong thing, if you're involved in an illegality, you should be stopped. Those who are doing their lawful duties should be allowed to do their lawful duty, mining responsibly. And if they see anybody trying to harass them, they should report to lawful authority. It is not for a candidate to be telling them to attack them back.
Or we need to quickly condemn what the aspirant said. What he said is total criminal, and he is preaching impunity in the quest for power.
I want to quickly bring in Michael Kojo Pepra. He's the president of the Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association. As you may have noticed, the MPP parliamentary candidate was making the point about miners who have a legal basis to actually mine, and that would include the small-scale miners themselves. And that his point was that if the security agents get there and they disturb them, they should attack them back. I also want to bring in James Agaga. He's a ranking member on the Defense Committee in Parliament. Enes Frimpong is a parliamentary candidate himself in question, joins us on the line right now. Michael, first to you, are the state security personnel still harassing your men who are legally mining?
As a matter of fact, in the Ashanti region, that is head by the Northern Command. They have in their custody of about 138 excavators. They've been seizing excavators from legal miners and illegal miners as well. So we cannot say it's a harassment, but as a matter of fact, they should be able to check whether the machines were being used illegally or legally. But then when they come to site, what they do is they only pick the machines and then they take it to their.
But you not call that harassment.
As a matter of fact, we are not happy with how the military is treating us. But we would not say it's an harassment. But I can speak on authority that some of us we've led the way to the court and we are seeking redress from the court. Recently, we had an order for those machines to be released, and we are still working on it. So
you're
even
using
if it should be an harassment, we are abiding by the rules of this country.
So you're using lawful means to challenge it when an excavator has been seized wrongfully?
Yes, because we cannot fight the military. As a matter of fact, we cannot fight the military and then the police. What we can do is to make sure that the right thing is being done.
And I heard you earlier, clearly condemning the parliamentary candidates' call on some of your members to attack the military.
I think that is wrong. That is the wrong call. We need to condemn this type of campaign. We have had dialogue with government that the approach has taken since the inauguration of the Ministerial Committee against illegal mining till now is wrong. So if you are not getting things right, and the fact that we want power shouldn't, push us to call for this act of impunity. Because why should you, as somebody who wants to go to Parliament and then bring about laws in future to help us streamline our activities?
Yeah, Michael.
To fight. Hello?
Michael, stay with me. I want to bring in Enes Frimpong himself. He's a parliamentary candidate for Mensah East. He's a man who made these comments, joins us on the line right now. Mr. Frimpong, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you, Iman.
Yeah, you just heard the rep of the small-scale miners you were speaking for, and he condemns your pronouncement. He says you're irresponsible. They are using lawful means to challenge the situations that you pointed to where the military or the police will seize their excavators. But here you are, asking them to attack them.
Thank you very much. I believe that the rep for small-scale miners probably do not understand that there are two forms of operations I'm speaking about in my engagement with the miners. The legal one that I even encourage the miners to offer some form of encouragement and motivation to them.
I mean, what you said was actually asking them to bribe the security agents who come
there. That's not bribe me. It's like me driving and I have my license already, but yet if I get to the roadside and I see a policeman in the sun, I give a tip. It's not bribery. They are doing their usual work, but yet you still go ahead to give them a tip. Or probably go to a restaurant to eat, and then after a good service by the waitress, you just give the waitress a balance.
When you do that to a uniformed officer, a military or police, that definitely is unethical conduct and can be construed as bribery.
Yeah, I said that if they come on duty, normal patrols, and you have the means to encourage them to do more, because these miners, their work is almost like a work for the community.
Yeah, but the state is already paying these security state agents. Why are you, a parliamentary candidate, asking ordinary citizens engaged in mining, you say they are legal miners, to give them money, to give them incentive when the state already pays them for the job?
I am saying that if all policemen and soldiers stay in their offices because these miners are doing legal businesses, they will be left at the mercy of armed robbers. And so they come on patrol, yes. But sometimes you and I know a lot of things can delay for police patrol, which is supposed to be regular, to be delayed for weeks or days. What if these delays arrive in these assaults or attacks by armed robbers? I am from Mensah East. I stay there. I know the real-time situation over there. And so encouraging miners to give some tips to these men when they come on patrols is not an encouragement of bribery or corruption.
But that's not the only thing you said. That's not the only thing. So what you said has generated this much condemnation. Is asking the miners to attack the uniformed men and women. That, you admit, is inciting violence against state security personnel. That clearly is illegal.
I did not engage miners to ask them to beat uniformed men. I told them that there is people who come unauthorized, unsanctioned. We have a number of operations that is going on in my constituency that is not sanctioned, that is business for people who are in the constituency. That is also a way of destroying our fortunes as part in the constituency. Organized operations by unqualified people. Sometimes they are even fake. They are not military men. They are not policemen, but they cover themselves in their uniform.
Yeah, but you were referring to soldiers and police officers when you spoke.
The people we are talking about, and when they come, resist them, so that we will be able to hear and put them behind bars.
Well, Mr. Frimpong, you are seeking to be a legislator, correct?
Yes,
your
correct.
primary job will be making laws. You're saying, asking the people to take the law into their own hands. That's what you're asking them to do.
I get what you're saying, but that is not the actual context of what I meant. That is why I said I spoke with people who understand my language. The people I engage, they understand language. And so if you take it like this in Accra, in Kumasi, it is not the same in the constituency.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you've just listened to Michael. Michael is a small-scale miner himself. He condemns your pronouncements as well, and he has men. He himself operates in Ashanti.
I will also condemn it likewise. If I am asked about a person making reference to Ghanaians to attack men in uniform, I will also condemn. But I have not done that. I am saying that we have legal operatives that I have even asked them to encourage them, that you are calling it bribery. But these ones I'm talking about are fake ones. The fake persons from who comes to extort money.
Stay with me. Let me bring in the ranking on the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament. Mr. Gaga, you want him arrested immediately?
I said they should retaliate when they beat them.
Mr. Frimpong, please stay with me.
In egregious conduct, which is unbecoming of a potential member of Parliament. I share in the views earlier expressed by some concerned citizens that he should be apprehended immediately, Evans. I mean, to incite people to attack the military and police, it's shameful. Look, I mean, if it is indeed true that the military and police embark upon unauthorized operations in his constituency, what are they supposed to do? Or he, as a potential parliamentarian, he's a candidate on the ticket of the ruling party, why wouldn't he lodge a complaint with the regional police command or even the district police command? You see, unfortunately, when he made the comment about the regional minister, who happens to be a very good friend of mine and chairman of RECSEC, sat in that meeting and did not do anything. I find the conduct of the minister very, very unfortunate, Evans. The minister should have acted there and then by causing his arrest. Mr. Frimpong should bow his head down in shame. I think he should be apologizing to the Ghanaians rather than making this attempt to defend those unfortunate statements he made.
And have you spoken to your colleague, who obviously is a Western Regional Minister, about this? What was his explanation? Is he going to take action post what we've had? Because, again, the security personnel in reference here are men that he will lead as a chair of the Security Council.
Evans, I've not had the opportunity to speak to my friend, Honorable Kobi, as we affectionately call him in Parliament, but I think that as the chairman of he pointed out the security agencies in the Western region, and therefore should be seen to be acting in the interest of the state. The interest of the state here is that security personnel are human beings who have lives, and the laws of the land, clearly, they are the ones who enforce them. So if a parliamentary candidate invites the public to attack security personnel, and the one who is supposed to be leading them in the region does nothing, he risks, losing the confidence of the security personnel in the region, which is why Honorable Kobi must act.
What do you expect him to do specifically?
I expect him to cause the arrest of Mr. What's his name?
Frimpong?
Is it Frimpong? Yes, absolutely. He is a witness in the matter. He sat in the meeting when Mr. Frimpong made those unfortunate remarks. So he should be seen to be spearheading the arrest and possible prosecution of Mr. Frimpong.
Mr. Frimpong, are you ready to apologize for what you said?
Definitely. If I am taken out of context, definitely. I have consulted my people, and the statement that is required to come out is being ready and available to come out tomorrow. So officially, this statement has been taken out of context. The intention of the statement has been misconstrued by people who do not really understand it. But I believe that my engagement with these minors, I engage people who understand my language, and at all times, they know that I did not incite them.
Yeah, but I'm just asking a simple question. Are you apologizing now or not?
I vehemently retract the statement made and deny that I have incited these minors to attack men in uniform. The men in uniform are our people, and we are together. We are building one country, and that nobody who is a Ghanaian can disturb the peace we are enjoying now. And that it will not be me that will start to call on these things to happen in the country.
I just need clarity. You said you retract, but then you say you deny that you make the pronouncement. So what are you retracting exactly?
I didn't say I deny. I never denied. Even when you asked me if I'm the one who said it, I said yes, I said it.
So you retract unreservedly? This is an unqualified retraction, is it?
Yes, please, it is.
Thank you very much. That's Ernest Frimpong. He's a parliamentary candidate for Menfi East. James Agaga is a ranking member of the Defence and Interior Committee in Parliament. And Michael Kojo Pepra is the president and concerned Small Scale Miners Association. I want to hear from you, especially if you come from the part of the country. What is your take on what we've just had there? Still here on News 9. I'll be sharing your thoughts with the rest of the world. 055-11-11997. Tonight, patients relying on critical medications for malaria and tuberculosis are fearing the worst. More than 100 containers with the critical medication are currently sitting at the port uncleared months after they were shipped into the country. The Global Fund has issued a final warning to Ghana demanding that TB and malaria medications sent to the country in October last year be cleared from the port with immediate effect. The fund is frustrated that despite assurances from the government, the majority of the shipments remain at the port and at risk of expiring. Now, demurrage and third-party charges amounting to 7 million cedis remain outstanding, making it difficult for the more than 118 containers still stuck at the port to be cleared. Samuel Hackman, who is with the Global Fund Coordinating Mechanism Secretariat in Ghana, has been speaking to my colleague, Rejoice.
It is as bad as it was 2 months ago because the issue has not been fully resolved. And this issue we are referring to is part of the $45 million commodities that were procured by the Global Fund under the GC6 for Ghana. And that part of it has still been held or stuck at the port is very worrying. And it's also denting the relationship that we have with the Global Fund as a country.
Can we say in specific terms that this is going to make the Global Fund withdraw its assistance for Ghana when it comes to drug procurement?
There's no mincing of words about that. They have stated it categorically to us that they would have done that earlier, but for the long-standing relationship, they will want to hold on and see the promises that we have put on the table, whether we will be able to fulfill them or not. And it is within a specified time that we need to do that or count ourselves out. Because the Global Fund also needs to explain to its donors, and the managers of the fund need to explain this to their board. And so nobody wants to find themselves doing this kind of communication. Quick does not bring anything, rather it saps people's energy. So I can assure you that if these commodities are not taken out of the port in time, and in time means now, the communication we may receive from the Global Fund will be just to confirm what you just asked.
We're also hearing tonight from persons living with HIV and AIDS. Listen to the president of the Ghana HIV and AIDS Network, NS Amwabing Austin.
It is true that we have run out of stock for TB medications. It is also true that the Global Fund has indicated that it is going to cut ties with us as a country. When it comes to treatment for these two diseases, HIV and TB, for example, if you are on medication and you stop, your body develops a resistance. So later on when you go back to the same medication, it doesn't work. It will then mean that you need to be taken onto a second line of medicines, which are even more expensive. And these are medicines that the government of Ghana is not even procuring. They are being given to us for free. And yet, we simply cannot take them from our ports. It is baffling.
Well, the Ghana Medical Association is raising alarm about this because of its potential impact on some of the critical diseases currently affected. Dr. Richard Salome joins us right now with more on this. Doc, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. How bad is it in terms of the goods left at the port, but also its impact on what you see in the hospitals across the country?
Yes, good evening, Evans, and good evening to your listeners. This issue is actually embarrassing to say the least because, as Ernest has outlined, these are drugs procured by the Global Fund for our use for clients. And mainly these are commodities that have to do with malaria, TB, which is tuberculosis, and HIV activities in the country. Beyond drugs are also insecticide-treated nets. Remember, we are in the rainy season, and these nets become very useful around this time, especially for pregnant women, kids who have to stay in areas which are malaria-prone. And so, if these commodities are still at the port, it is very, very worrying. Already, there were shortages of malaria test kits. Thankfully, a few of the containers were let out, and then some of these test kits are now going out to the places. What that means for us as clinicians is that we will not be able to test and confirm before we treat as the policy demands of us. It also means that pregnant women who go to hospitals and are given some of these nets to use to protect themselves from the harmful effects of malaria and other conditions that affect them during pregnancy will not get the nets. And then the other medications that TB patients use. Remember, TB patients we are beginning to see cases of multi-drug resistant TB, as Ernest was talking about. And so we do not want people who are already on medications to even have a break in that, because already patients have a challenge taking this medication. So if you are breaking for long periods where some of them are not going to get these medications, getting them back on even is a problem, because some of them, we might even lose them before the drugs and other commodities come out. So this is a very serious problem that we need urgent attention to get all the rest of the containers out of the pot. And I don't think this is the time for further explanations. This has been a situation since, I think, last year, since some of the commodities have been in there. And the president of the Ghana Medical Association even raised the concern regarding the effectiveness of some of these medications concerning the storage conditions under which they are being stored in containers, the heat and other things affecting even the effectiveness. And so this is a very serious concern that we must immediately act to address.
Are you experiencing shortage across the country, for example? Are your members experiencing that in some of these critical medications that we're expecting to come in to help the situation?
Yes, as I have mentioned, some places are experiencing shortage, but because there are few of them within the system, regional health directorates and teams are beginning to try to, should I say, mop up a few of them in some of the regions where there are a few to send to some. But within a matter of the end of this month, many places are going to begin to experience the shortage of these medications.
So it's going to become a nationwide problem by the end of the month?
Of course. We need to get the containers out, and we don't have to wait for a shortage before we even think about that.
Thank you very much. And that there is Dr. Richard Salome. He is the Ghana Medical Association's General Secretary, speaking to us about the problem with the goods, the medications, critical medications currently stuck at the port. Government has failed to clear them. The Global Fund that sent it to us on a humanitarian basis is now threatening to cancel its relationship with Ghana. I want to hear your thoughts on this as well, and I'll be sharing that with the rest of the world. This is Joy 99.7 FM. It's Newsnight. It's also your election headquarters. And election headquarters is always brought to you by Petrosol Clean Fuel in full quantity. CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, AICPA and CIMA together as Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty. Also by Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service. We also have a Youth Bridge Foundation making coverage of this year's elections very possible. And I want to take you to the Ashanti region right now. I'll be joined pretty shortly by Nanabwache Yadom, where we're hearing tonight from the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party and the current Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is promising chiefs across the country what he calls a living allowance. He's been speaking there on his tour of the region. Listen.
Involving chiefs not enough in the governance of the country. We perceive Mr. Sama, because as it is right now, the chiefs are powerless in many areas. They can't even summon people at Omobeba. We need to change. And amend Section 63G of the Chieftaincy Act to empower the chiefs to help government to govern this country. So, that way now, we need to empower the chiefs to help government. And empowering the chiefs is not only to change the law, but to financially resource the chiefs. Yeah, financially resource the palaces, more palaces, So the Parliament chiefs are paid 1,000 cedis. 1,000 cedis. It's not going anywhere. Petrol is difficult for that to attend meetings. My manifesto team, we've looked at all of it. We are saying that we have to pay living allowances to the paramount chiefs, and not stop there, but to the divisional chiefs and the queen mothers, so that we can have a complete chieftaincy institution that is empowered to help government.
Nana Boakye-Addo is my colleague. He's been following the Vice President, joins us right now on the line. Nana, what has been the reaction to this?
Well, Evans, the chiefs really did applaud the Vice President for giving out such a promise. The Mampohine Dasebwe Osebonsu, who sat in on behalf of the Asante, commended the Vice President for having the thought of including them in his next administration. Well, he did say that in his term as president, they're expecting him to keep up with the promise and then make sure that he does amend section Article 267, which talks about the stool and skin lands and property. So this is what the chiefs really did say to Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia when he made the promise of giving them an incentive package when he comes in as president in 2025.
And he's also been talking about the illegal mining problem. He's been making some proposals.
Well, yes, he has been talking about illegal mining activities. He says that there should be equity stake in land and a solution to illegal mining crisis. For Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the involvement of traditional leaders in land ownership with their district assemblies can serve as a deterrent to illegal miners who are...
I may have lost him there on the line, connecting with us on the campaign trail. That's a challenge with moving when you are embedded with the parliamentary candidate. But listen to Bawumia make the point there that Nana Boakye-Addo was just helping us appreciate the context of.
The chiefs must have a stake in the exploitation of those resources. The district assemblies must have a stake. So I was just being told, just a few days ago by someone who is very wise that let's look at giving the chiefs a stake. Let's give an equity stake in the resource, whether it's a gold mine or whatever. When we find gold in your area, then you have a stake in it, an equity stake. The district assembly has an equity stake. Once you have an equity stake, you will not allow this land to be misused. It has to be that you have a stake in it rather than the current situation. We want to make sure that we can regulate the small-scale miners, make sure the chiefs are part of the district mining committees that can give the licenses to the small-scale miners.
Well, let's speak to traditional ruler Nanan Sakor. He is a chief of Akwemu Dumasa. Joins us on the line right now. Nanan, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. So, according to the vice president, the flag bearer of the NPP, if he's elected, he would introduce what he calls living allowances to yourselves, paramount chiefs, divisional chiefs, and queen mothers. Your reaction to that?
Well, thank you, Evans, and good evening to listeners. Well, I don't know if he can do all divisional chiefs and all paramount chiefs. I don't know how that would work. But I believe that certain paramount chiefs need help. And again, if I say certain paramount chiefs, I don't know how that also is going to work.
Well, actually, today he actually acknowledges that currently the paramount chiefs are paid. They are paid the allowance of 1,000 cedis, but he says that's not enough. He says you can't even use that to fuel your vehicle, and so he's going to introduce a living allowance.
Well, see, Evans, I think it's a good call. Now, I say that because, see, Evans, if you live in the rural areas, where your justice and your education and your scholarship and everything literally comes from the palace, it takes a lot to run that administration. Everybody is sending their cases there looking to get justice. The chief would then have to assemble people to sit to hear your case, and all these things cost money. So if the paramount chiefs would get some stipends to help them cushion these things, Evans, I'm not a paramountcy. Just recently, the teachers in my community were going for a course, refresher course or something, and they came to me for the refreshment. They want books, they come to the palace. They want a printer, they come to the palace. But it's a government school, so you ask, why don't they go to the assembly? But I don't think that Bawumia can give every single chief an allowance. However, if this is my problem, magnify it times 10 or 100, and that's the problem with the paramountcies. So if some paramountcies will get some respectable living allowance, I think it's fine, because all these areas where governments are not present, these paramountcies that are holding the country together. So I don't know.
For paramountcies, yes, but you're not in favor of handing out these monies to divisional chiefs and queen mothers.
No, because queen mothers, yes, paramount queen mothers, yes, because they also have a lot of burden. People, all these teenage pregnancies. You take Nana Frakuma, for instance. But Nana, we
certainly cannot afford that, can we? Where we are currently, where is she even going to find the money to do this? 2025 is going to be a difficult year economically.
Well, there are only about 300 paramountcies or 160 paramountcies in the country.
Well, and then you have the divisional chiefs, and then you have the queen mothers.
Adding 160 people to the wage bill shouldn't be. How many ministers we have? We have more ministers than paramountcies currently, and they are surviving. But you see, Evans, these are people who are holding the part of the country which, you see, when you live in Accra, these things sound like dinosaurs. Because in Accra, you have Kaneshi police station, Odoko police station, that police station, this MTTU. You get to Kudikope, and there's nothing. No police station, no fire service, nothing. There will be any. So it's these paramountcies and community heads who hold those places together for the country.
Nana, thank you very much. Nana Nsakwada is the chief of Akwemu Dumasai, and many of you are now sharing your thoughts on this as well. David says, how is he going to fund this allowance, considering the numerous chiefs we have? Every community has more than one chief. Promise, indeed, he says. And Nana Ekwamwa Boateng says, while the Vice President of Bawumia is busily touring, John Mahama is also busily throwing shades at President Nana Akufo Addo as if he is contesting the president. Can someone wake him up from his slumber? He says. And a final one on the subject of Bawumia and the chiefs. Sana Inagunu says, Mr. Bawumia must stop deceiving our chiefs, and I hope Ghanaians will vote against him in an upcoming general elections, he says. Also, his thoughts there on the subject. And on other stories we've been doing here on Newsnight on the subject of the parliamentary candidate for Mensah East, Michael in Legon says, has the IGP heard the comments of Mr. Frimpong, or is he waiting for an order to arrest him? We are all watching, he says in his message. And the final one on that same subject of Mr. Frimpong and his comments, same comments repeated on that's on the same issue. I want to take a final one on the MP subject. This aspiring parliamentary candidate has the gut to speak on there without apologizing. Well, he says he has retracted an unqualified retraction. This man should be arrested immediately. Let's do some business now. And Mr. Shen joins me with that.
Right, in business today, Bank of Ghana advised to intensify strategies aimed to discouraging speculations as Citi makes some gains in the past few days. We'll hear from currency analyst Courage Butu, and the Ghana Airport Campaign Limited start work to encourage international airlines to fly directly to prepare the first international airport in Kumasi. Business News on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tanks, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal.
Hey, so as for you, every day you are just pressing your phone. Why? Are they paying you?
They are, Oma. The more I use my MTN, the more points I get. And I can use those points to get airtime, data, and even discounts at shops and restaurants.
Hey, so that is why all of you are always pressing your phones. And you won't tell us, so that we too we can enjoy some.
Oh, ma.
There's always more to enjoy with MTN Rewards. Just keep talking, testing, and browsing all day, every day to collect your points and use it to redeem amazing offers and discounted freebies right away. There's so much available for you. So dial *550# and get your reward today. Let's go. Everywhere you go.
Kweku, have you heard what they are doing on MTN?
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Water is needed all day, all night. So remember Syntex tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex tank. A strong, a tough. Water is needed all day, all night. So remember Syntex tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex tank. A strong, a tough.
Choboy! Yeah. We have a new leader in town. OBRNT. Amanfo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe mamu more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe mamu lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal Pack with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, my name is Mami Akuya, an entrepreneur and a mother of 2. My work keeps me busy most of the time, and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family health care plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
Welcome to Business on Newsnight with me, James Asian. Let's settle for the details. First off, currency analyst Kojo Boti has underscored the need for the Bank of Ghana to continue with its communication strategy to discourage speculations in the forex market. He's of the view that the market has gradually responded to assurances provided by the Bank of Ghana in stabilizing the cedi. Corporate demand for the dollar has in recent times reduced, easing the pressure on the Ghana cedi. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Boti is hopeful of a more stable cedi if government is able to secure the $360 million second tranche funding from the International Monetary Fund by end of June.
Well, I wouldn't say we return to normalcy, but things are on a pause now. People are looking at the next move and then the next direction of the macros and how they behave, really. And I think it's important that T-bill decline is not very aggressive, because if people begin to feel they can get more from exchange rate, buying the dollar or the FX than doing T-bills, then you could see demand diverting to that side. So it's only expected that declining T-bill yields may be gradual, so that we can also sustain the FX outlook in that side, where people will speculate for lower yields and go buy FX as an alternative. So I think they align, and let's see how the coming weeks and months unfold.
And that was currency analyst Courage Botida speaking. Even though economist Professor Patrick Asumin is hopeful the general communications around the cedi is having a positive impact, is however cautioning the funds from the IMF may not sustain the cedi in the long term, since the Bank of Ghana is not allowed to intervene in the market.
Because the market usually will react when there's new information, whatever is shared. My sense is that there's been a general expectation following communication from the IMF and also from our own local, the Ministry of Finance, that the expectation has largely been that by the end of June, we would have gone through this. So these funds will come. And also, we have to look at the quantum of the money we are receiving and, how much of a difference it will make to our reserve position. But when you put all of that aside, there's some sense within the market that even when we receive these funds, the Bank of Ghana is restricted in its ability to intervene in the market, because we have to meet some reserve requirement, some gross international reserve requirement and net international reserve requirement in the IMF program. So in some sense, that inhibits the ability of the central bank to intervene even when we receive these funds.
And that was economist Professor Patrick Asumin there. Now let's do some aviation story. The Ghana Airport Company Limited is asking international airlines to consider flying to the new Prempeh, the first international airport in Kumasi. The managing director, Yvonne Opari, assures that the company is ready to facilitate operations and processes and working collaboratively with all agencies at the airport to ensure seamless working environment. She urged more international airline companies to leverage the Ghanaian aviation market and expand investment. She was speaking at the inaugural ITA Airways flight in Accra.
The introduction of this direct flight route signifies a new era of convenience and efficiency for travelers, both for business and leisure purposes, offering passengers more options and seamless connectivity between these two vibrant cities. In line with our mission to provide world-class facilities and services, I want to use this opportunity to invite you all the interested airlines, to explore the opportunities in these markets and tap into all its possibilities. As the operator and manager of all airports in Ghana, Ghana Airports Company Limited is committed to providing unwavering support and to ensure you consistently achieve a high on-time departure and arrival performance.
Yvonne Opari is the managing director for the Ghana Airport Company Limited. Now to some energy story. The executive director of the African Center for Energy Policy, Benjamin Boakye, says Ghana is gradually losing its position as a major electricity exporter in the West African sub-region. According to Mr. Boakye, this situation will lead to revenue losses as other nations will be pushed to invest in their domestic energy generation infrastructure, thereby cutting off their reliance on other nations for supply.
Increasingly, we are encouraging other countries to build their own solution. It may be expensive, but when they commit to it, they don't have any choice than to depend on their own generation that may be even more expensive than importing from Ghana. The advantage Ghana had over the export market was on quality. Nigeria sells power cheaper than we do, but because we were more reliable, neighboring countries preferred power from Ghana. So one, we had to deal with that higher tariff and improve on our reliability because we weren't saints anyway. Because if Nigeria improves reliability with a cheaper tariff, they take the market.
Benjamin Boakye is the executive director of the African Center for Energy Policy. And that's all for Business on Newsnight with me, James Ishen.
NSMQ, the National Science and Maths Quiz, is back, and today Winchi Methodist SHS is making a triumphant entry into the 2024 edition after 6 consecutive years of trying and failing, they beat competition from their Wesleyan counterparts, Brekum Methodist SHS, Jinijini SHS, and Sumaman SHS, to qualify for the national championship. Here in Accra, a school that has been making a lot of waves in that competition, Chemu, also progressed. My colleague James Abeji was there for us. James, what happened?
Yes, so Chemu progressed with some 46 points above the likes of Teshi Senior High School. Before the competition, I caught up with a student of Teshi Senior High School who tells me they would beat them by some 20 points, and then they went into it and they lost. Let's listen to the two schools on what they make out of the win and the loss.
Questions, and secondly, I also that they don't fear, they press the bell with boldness, and I'm in the second year, and I hope that for my year I'll make it, and if we meet them, I'll be sure that I will face them.
I'm sure you feel the Chemu guys.
Yes, I feel them, but it pains me that they've won.
We've learned from what happened and we've worked on it, so now we've improved. We are back.
You are back. What you are what?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Yes, we come back. We don't lose.
Which means that you are winning the champion.
Real Madrid and Pa. And what contest you have tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are looking out to how Accra girls. We know that St. Mary's, the first girls' school, have qualified. Let's see how Accra girls will do it tomorrow, as well as Ganata and Adan Senior High School.
Okay, thank you very much, James. And that's it for News Night. Tonight, you don't want to go anywhere because Fenchu, Tahiri Fenchu, and the Lats are taking over your airwaves right now because there's a very important match. The Black Stars are playing in Kumasi. Hello, Fent.
Hi, Evans. A very good evening. And it's a very important game. We have live commentary coming up very shortly. Otuado has made 3 changes to the starting lineup that beat Mali 2-1 on Thursday. Kamaldeen Sulemana, Jordan Ayew, and Fatau Ishahaku all, in fact, Fatau and Jordan came on as substitutes. They get starting belts tonight. Kamaldeen Sulemana did not play any part at all in that victory in Bamako. He gets a start as well. And Kudus Mohammed, of course, Fatau Ishahaku and Kamaldeen Sulemana supporting Jordan up top is the attacking lineup Otuado has gone for. The midfield two remains the same. Thomas Partey and Salis Abdul Samad. In defense, it's literally the same back four that played in the match against Mali. Seydou Alidu, a right back this time around, 4 back. Jiku Alexander is in centre back, and Salisu is alongside him. Gideon Mensah at left back. Atizigi maintains his position in that goal for Ghana. Remember, the Black Stars have 3 points from their 3 matches. They have 6 points, I beg your pardon, from their 3